two major explosions took place in Iran in two different places, right? Immediately, the Iranian government came out and said, no, this is just gas explosions. However, things don't happen for nothing. We know that it wasn't just gas explosions, but this was a way for the Iranian government to send a message, say, we have everything under control. But what truly happened is that the fractions of the Mossads who are in Iran were basically sending messages to Israel and the United States. This is a way of communicating, telling them how the situation is inside Iran. And what the Mossad will do is that they will evaluate, right, based on the location, the number of explosions that took place, and the way that the Iranian government will respond. Based on that, they will make a decision whether it is a good thing to attack or not attack. So don't be surprised if you hear more of these explosions, because at this point in time, the explosions and the way that it took place did not give them the okay to proceed with what they wanted to do. And you will notice that immediately this happened, Israel came out and say, we had nothing to do with this. Now, people would think, that is because they remember what happened the last time, and therefore, they fear that Iran will immediately start shooting, right? In fact, this is just a distraction, right? As soon as it happened, just so that people don't start questioning what is going on, they come out and say, no, look, we had nothing to do with this. Now, keep in mind, the Mossad, they are very, very intelligent Secret Service. They know what they're doing, right? It's only later on that we will find out exactly when they will expose, or after they finish whatever they were doing, that, they will start teaching us what is it that they were actually doing. So we don't underestimate, and of course, Iran and its allies will not underestimate what is going on. People who think, oh no, just out of the blue like that, some gas explosion will just happen in the midst of waiting for a war to happen. Look, we are a little more intelligent than this. One thing we must understand is that Donald Trump naturally is not a warmonger. I'm going to give you a few reasons why the United States cannot plan to go to war with Iran. First reason is that by him sending his armada and all of those, assets over there close to the border of Iran, it's exposing the soldiers. They know very well that if Iran has the capabilities, right, to sink those ships. They know that. They examine the hypersonic weapons of Iran, and they know Iran can be very precise. They are exposing their troops right there in the coast of Iran. We even know it because they themselves are saying it. Not only that, Marco Rubio, Secretary of State of the United States, confirmed this, but also the army itself sent a message to Iran about the military drill, saying, look, you have, think about safety here. We're here. Don't come in here and try to cause any problems. So they care about the safety of their troops. So by Donald Trump sending them out there in harm's way, that's not because he's planning on war. Nah, this is just bluff, right? He's hoping that he can get, a few people afraid and that they can give up, right? But Donald Trump is not a politician. He doesn't even understand what he's doing. Second reason why they cannot plan for war against Iran is the distance. If a war was to break out where the United States provoke Iran, Iran is at home. They have millions of soldiers, millions of armaments, whether it's missiles, drones, you name it. They can easily deploy without worrying so much, without even moving too much, and just shoot. But the US, right, in order for them to, to have enough assets to fight this war, they're going to have to bring more weapons. And look at the distance from the US to bring all those weapons to Iran. Go ahead and calculate the distance for yourself. This is not Venezuela, where the United States could easily talk about this is our backyard and they can just move their ship very quickly to Venezuela and have a war. No. From the US to Iran is a long distance. Look at how many days it took for this so-called armada to get there. Do you think someone who wants to go to war is not going to think about that? Do you really think that when you decide to go to war, if we are talking about the CIA, the intelligence of the United States, that they don't know that starting a war can take a long time? Look at Russia. Russia had to start an entire industry in Ukraine. And it's very easy for them because it's right there, at the border with Russia and Ukraine. But the US cannot come from that far to come fight a war in Iran. That will be the most unintelligent thing anyone can do. Even a child who was born yesterday will tell you that you cannot fight a war like that. That's suicide. And the third reason why the US is not planning on going to war with Iran is that the US understand that Iran has powerful allies. You have Russia and China. Russia is waiting for an opportunity like this. For 4 years, they've been fighting NATO in Ukraine, where the US has been providing intelligence, they've been providing weapons, you name it, and soldiers under the flag of mercenaries against Russia. They've killed Russians. Russia would not lose an opportunity like this. People say, well, Russia didn't help Venezuela. Look, Venezuela didn't want to fight. Think of what happened in Syria. Russia started bombing Syrian rebels. But then Syrian soldiers themselves, they gave up and they left. How do you want Russia to continue bombing? In order for you to give the opportunity, to your ally to fight, you have to start fighting. And so Iran is clear that we are fighting. As we're speaking now, they have temporarily closed the Strait of Hormuz because Iran is having a military drill with Russia and China right there in the Strait of Hormuz. That is to send a message to the US. So when you add the economic catastrophe that it will take to have a war in that area, this is even one of the reasons why the US does not want to go to war with Iran. Then the fourth reason, which is even more important than the other reasons that I gave, is that when the US went against Venezuela, they were going against a president. They talk about Maduro. They kidnapped the president. That's it. And the people gave in. When they went against Iraq, it was the president of Iraq, Saddam Hussein. The people gave in. When they went against Libya, it was also the president of Libya. People gave in. In Iran, they are going against a spiritual leader, not just any president, a spiritual leader, the Ayatollah. Look, Muslims don't play with their religions. They die for their religion. You don't want to go to war with people who have strong religious ideologies. You don't want that. The US is provoking something that they would not be able to stop. Those people are ready to die for that man. He is not just a president. He represents God on earth for them. You go after him, you will have the type of war that will not stop anytime soon. On top of that, the Houthis have already been clear that they will get involved. Every single small allies that Iran has, whether it's Hezbollah, you can't fight those people with religious ideologies, man. If you go after their Ayatollah and you mistakenly take him out, trust me when I tell you, this war will not end until something major has happened. That needs to be understood very well. Now let's talk about Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the only leader in the United States who made the biggest mistake of aligning himself at 100% with Israel. See, other presidents, they understood Israel and they understood what Israel wanted. They always respect Israel because the US, say this is our biggest ally and all of that. But they know their limits with Netanyahu. Netanyahu has asked every president, whether it's Bush, you name them, about bombing Iran. And all of them have always said, no, we will not bomb Iran. Trump is the only one who came and, trying to show that he's more intelligent than everybody else. And he took a whole lot of money from them, and now he has to pay back. When they were funding his campaign, he was there happy. He thought, because he's too intelligent. No, in the contrary, he underestimated politics. He thought because he's a businessman that all of a sudden he's bigger than politicians. No, he made a major mistake by taking their money. Because one thing that is for sure, payback is to bomb Iran. That's what Israel wants from him for all their support. If you're paying attention to the news in the United States, there are two major news that came out, matter of fact, this weekend. One is that more of the Epstein files came out, where they are expecting that Donald Trump is in there. And then the second thing is that news are coming out that Donald Trump's family made a deal with some, Arab kingdom or something, who bought 49% of Donald Trump's crypto money. That was a few days before the inauguration of Donald Trump. And they are calling that conflict of interest. Who do you think is coming up with this information? It is Israel. They are putting pressure on Donald Trump because Donald Trump seems to be backing off. The intelligence community, the CIA is telling him, look, if you attack Iran, it's going to be a real war. And Donald Trump is not a warmonger. Unfortunately, he just took the wrong money. His arrogance then caught up with him. He doesn't know what to do now. It is either he bombs Iran, we get into a major war that will get him impeached and probably get him in jail, or he doesn't bomb Iran, he get out of there without doing anything, and Israel start to release all of those secret documents that they have against Donald Trump. He's still probably going to be impeached, but it's not going to be as bad as if he were to go to war and lose American soldiers. Israel doesn't care whether the U.S. loses soldiers or not. They don't care a bit. Their thing is that they invested money to bring Trump to power, and he has to pay it back. So the question is, how would Trump react? Because he's in major trouble.